Good day, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I am Jaime Kang, and this is Dennise Silva. First off, we'd like to say that we're grateful to have been accepted to be part of this year's DLSU Research Congress. Today, we'll be presenting our paper titled Promoting Online Peer Interaction Through Think, Pair, Share Activities, written with our thesis mentor, Dr. Jasper Alontaga. In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been great impact on the traditional face-to-face learning setup, especially to the early childhood education community, where schools incorporated online learning settings for these young children. Children learn by using their senses and experiences to develop their skills and abilities. According to Sir Jamaki, peer interaction and play build a foundation of full participation in the learning process. Free-flowing, child-initiated play was usually seen in peer interaction and imaginative play, which can promote not only cognitive development, but socio-emotional development as well, which is why it is important for children to develop relationships and learn to communicate with their peers. The researchers saw the importance of measuring peer interaction in online classes and providing interactive activities where students can still develop their relationships with their peers through screens. In this study, the researchers took advantage of online sessions to carefully time and observe children's peer interaction through the implementation of the strategy or intervention that aided the success of the performance of the action research. Through the observations, the researchers noticed that the lack of peer interaction in online classes in kids in day school and aimed to figure out how peer interaction can be enhanced. The researchers noticed that communication inside a classroom was mainly between the teacher and the student. This was evident in the majority of the online classes observed by the researchers. Most of the students only interacted with their peers when prompted by the teacher. This would usually happen during attendance when the teacher shows a name tag of the student and asks who owns this name tag or who is still missing. This was the only time researchers saw students interacting or acknowledging their peers inside the online classroom. The researchers believe that providing opportunities for peer interaction inside an online classroom allowed the students to connect, relate, and understand what they were learning through and with their peers.
Our conceptual framework focuses on online peer interaction as the dependent variable, and the think, pair, share via Zoom breakout rooms will be the independent variable. The study will measure improvements in the amount and quality of peer interaction. Think, pair, share via Zoom breakout rooms will be the independent variable and is applied to early childhood online classes as a strategy to enhance engagement between students online. In this study, TPS pertains to a cooperative discussion strategy that provides opportunities to all students to share their knowledge and understanding with their peers. The study will measure improvements in the amount and quality of online peer interaction, which the researchers believe that providing opportunities for peer interaction inside an online classroom will provide the holistic development the researchers mentioned in the definition of an ideal peer interaction. So next is the research problem. So the study aimed to promote online peer interaction through TPS activities. Specifically, it aimed to answer the following questions. What is the amount and quality of peer interaction before and after implementing the TPS activities? What are the effects of think, pair, share activities to online peer interaction? And lastly, what are the reactions of the students towards think, pair, share activities?
The next part is the methodology. This research followed the case study approach. A case study research approach was used by researchers to have better understanding of the lack of peer interaction inside an online classroom setting. This approach was used to extensively explore an event or phenomenon in its natural context. This was appropriate as there are limited students in the research locale. Two instruments were used in the study. The first one was the researcher-made Quality of Peer Interaction rubric, which is the QPI rubric. This instrument was anchored on related literature and converted into a 4-point rating scale. It consisted of 4 dimensions, namely verbal communication, body language, cooperation, and respect. and each was evaluated using the scale of 1, low interactive qualities, to 4, high interactive qualities. The second instrument was the TPS observation tool, which was a track sheet where researchers observed the online class by attending and analyzing class recordings to be able to time the amount of peer interactions made by students during class. Total minutes per session was placed. The data gathering procedures were divided into 3 phases: before, during, and after intervention. Before conducting the intervention, the researchers observed the class and used the QPI rubric. The researchers also computed the amount of interaction the students had with each other based on the class session recording using the TPS observation tool. After each intervention, researchers observed if the students' peer interaction had been developed on the other days of the week. The quantitative data was organized with the rubric scores of before and during the process of the research. The timed evident interactions were averaged to show the difference of peer interaction times, and this was supported by qualitative data through observations.
The next part is the results and discussion. Student A has shown the greatest improvement when it comes to the quality of his peer interaction, from an average of 9.75, which indicated moderate interactive quality pre-implementation, to an average of 10.69 that indicated high interactive quality during and post-implementation. He also understood the instructions and activities very well and enjoyed the Zoom breakout room sessions because he was able to socialize with other students. He was the easiest to get attention from among the 3 cases. Student B required more attention and instruction as she had a hard time focusing on what needs to be done. Student B's special learning needs made her get off her seat so often that it was hard for her to have full participation in the TPS strategy at all times. Even so, student B was able to accomplish the required activities and perform with a bit of effort made by the researchers. Her results showed both moderate interactive qualities in both pre and post implementation of the strategy, but her scores did show a slight improvement. Student C was a slow learner and also often encountered technical difficulties. This resulted in a hard time in communicating with student C that student C's guardian needed to call him out a few times too. Because he is a slow learner who had technical difficulties, student C doesn't seem to be interested in his classes most of the time. Student C was also not much of a talker, but he's very verbal when it comes to certain topics that he liked, whether they were related to the activity or not. Student C scored the lowest in both the TPS observation tool and the QPI rubric, but there was minimal progress that the researchers believe could be improved over a longer period of time.
Figure 2 presents the cross-case analysis of all 3 students. As a group, all 4 dimensions of quality of peer interaction increased, with respect getting the highest score after the implementation. Although there was a slight decrease in the respect score comparing before and after the implementation, they still scored a high in respect since they displayed good manners and conduct during the study. They also scored similar pre and post-implementation in body language, since all 3 students were consistent with their on-camera behavior during online class sessions. The students' body language could also be a factor to consider when looking at students' peer interaction. The biggest increase was seen in the cooperation scores for all 3 students. Activities that promote cooperation between peers had an important factor in the students' ability to comprehend each other's work. All 3 students scored quite low in verbal communication for both pre and post-implementation periods. However, the researchers still acknowledge the slight increase in their verbal communication scores and believe that it can still be improved in a longer period of time.
Figure 3 presents the cross-case analysis of the amount of peer interaction for all 3 students who participated in the study. Overall, the 3 students showed an increase in their quality of peer interaction and a very slight increase in the amount of peer interaction. The increase in the amount of peer interaction was seen on days of intervention but not much on days without. All 3 cases showed overall overall improvement in their peer interactions in online distance learning. Though the progress was small and slow, it was still evident, which was why researchers believe that a longer period of application could help any type of young learner with their peer interactions. Furthermore, as the students get used to the TPS activities, the researchers noticed that the need for prompts started to lessen. The researchers also appreciated this because the peer interaction seemed to be more organic since the students already know what to do when they are inside the breakout rooms. Applying interactive strategies like the TPS strategy allowed the students to feel more comfortable and at ease inside the classroom, in the researcher's case, an online classroom. Not only did it motivate the students in participating in the activities, but it also developed their communication skills and provided self-confidence and better self-esteem.
So based on the findings, the research questions are answered as follows. For question number 1, what are the quality and amount of peer interaction before and after implementing the TPS activities? Before the implementation, there was moderate interactive quality for all students. After the implementation, student B and student C remained of moderate interactive quality, while student A improved to high interactive quality. But comparing before and after implementation, a very slight increase was observed in the amount of interaction for all 3 students. For question number 2, what are the effects of think, pair, share activities to online peer interaction? The researchers concluded that implementing the TPS strategy to improve peer interaction in online classes is a great tool for children, but a slow process. This especially showed a slight increase in peer interaction for students who are more shy and less talkative than others, and also worked for students with special learning needs. The researchers also saw better results as the students would get used to doing the TPS strategy in online class sessions. The activities that were done using the TPS strategy not only enhanced the interaction between students, but also their understanding and learning from the activity. For question number 3, what are the reactions of the students towards the think, pair, share activities? The students enjoyed the TPS strategy since it was something different to what they are used to, and they also got a chance to interact with their peers. The students showed more interest in participating in activities by telling the researchers, "I like this activity," or "Yay, we're doing the Zoom rooms," when implementing the TPS strategy. This allowed better quality and amount of peer interaction amongst the students. The students seemed more involved and comfortable in the activities and would understand and follow instructions better. It was also evident that the students look forward to activities involving the TPS strategy. The implementation was doable for any types of topics and activities because the researchers just needed to apply the TPS strategy to the given lesson plans.
So lastly, our conclusion, think, pair, share via Zoom breakout rooms is a viable option to improve online peer interaction in children's online distance learning, as all 3 cases showed an increase in the amount and quality of peer interaction. The strategy is also able to guide both regular students and students with special learning needs. As such, the following are recommended. For teachers, it is recommended to use prompts for students who are more introverted. The use of prompts can provide the students with the confidence to do the work that they are tasked to do and follow the TPS strategy. Additionally, when using the TPS strategy in Zoom, there must be 1 teacher per breakout room. For parents or caregivers, it is recommended to give their children more independence and space when in online distance learning. Parents should guide their children to talk to their classmates instead of focusing more time on the activity or work itself. For future researchers, it would be better if the implementation period of the TPS strategy would be longer as well as the duration of each session to give young students time to adjust to it so that they can get used to talking to their peers. Additionally, the peer interaction rubric is essential to the success of the study. For students who have special learning needs, it is recommended to break the workloads into smaller parts for students to follow step by step. Since the TPS strategy takes more time than usual, researchers also suggest giving students with special learning needs a definite time limit or timeline to work with.
So that's it for our presentation, and we hope you all learned more about early childhood education. Thank you for listening.